And we're live. Thank you, Janine. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, to the Tummy Whisperer podcast. We are on episode 19. Hard to believe.
Can you believe it? I know.
No, it's super exciting. I mean, it took us a while to get here. Remember the first 5 times we tried, I had to get a new laptop. Anyway.
So funny. It's so true.
So true. But we're live. I'm excited to be here with you guys today. It's been a couple of weeks, but we've got a lot to talk about as the season is changing, as people are struggling with more bodily fluids coming out of their bodies, more mucus, more urine, what's happening. It is allergy season. So we're going to dive into what the airborne allergens do to our digestive system and how eating certain foods can trigger a histamine response. And I'm going to kind of walk you guys through the whole cascade of what happens in the body when we have this kind of overload and the body's like, and has to get rid of the stuff via mucus, right? So if you guys are listening and you've been experiencing a little more, gosh, I wonder if I'm having some food sensitivities. Every time I eat this, my nose runs, right? Every time I eat dairy, or every time I eat pizza sauce or whatever, I'm noticing this. So certain foods, as you guys know, you've heard me talk about this ad nauseum at this point, are high in histamine. When we add the added extra layer of airborne allergens in the air, that adds more to our histamine bucket. So people who already have a sensitivity to foods high in histamine, like me, right? I'm wiping my nose because my nose is itchy. And I have to really, really dial it back this time of year while everything's blooming because I'm on a hair trigger. I can't cheat with even a half a gluten-free beer. Might feel it like the next morning. I'm like waking up at 4 a.m. with half a box of Kleenex. And even Mark on the way to work today, he texts me, he's like, can histamine cause like me to be peeing more? And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Histamine can affect the bladder. It can cause you to feel like you're even almost having like a urinary tract infection or, urinary tract sort of the feeling, right? Where you're feeling like you're having a UTI, but it's not quite an infection. So histamine is something that is, again, in the air when things are blooming. Some people are more susceptible to allergies, airborne allergens, which makes those people, more susceptible to certain foods that are high in histamine. Those foods that are high in histamine can create anything from diarrhea to constipation to bloating to headaches, nausea, reflux, sleep dysregulation, headaches, skin problems, hormonal dysregulation. Do I need to go on?
No, it sounds awful.
It's awful. And it's funny. I used to think that people can kind of grow out of their allergies. Can you grow into them and you can kind of grow out of them? And some people do. But, with our environment being just so polluted and so toxic, and our air and water and food not being what it was, it's really hard to really kind of stay ahead of it. And those extra chemicals can also cause an interesting hit to the cells and create a little bit more histidine in the body. So the whole idea behind the conversation today, guys, is to really, again, every time I'm talking to you guys, I want you guys to walk away with some kind of like eye opener, like, God, that just makes sense, right? When I eat this happens. I wonder why I'm all of a sudden feeling like maybe I have a food sensitivity. It's not necessarily a food sensitivity. It's more a reaction in the body, or it's not really a food allergy, a true allergy, because a true allergy is hideous to deal with. But a sensitivity causes all those things I mentioned and more, and it can be just as simple as a sensitivity. You start eating enough of these foods when things are beautiful and blooming, and even 2 to 3 Zyrtec isn't going to touch it, right? The nose is going, the bladder's going, the lungs are going, your skin is itchy, your ears are itchy, your eyes are watering, right? Rubbing. This is the time to really check the foods that are high in histamine. So let's go through some of these foods that are high in histamine. all the nightshades. So those are your tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, and eggplants. So for those of you that love eggplant and peppers and tomatoes, and you have some itchiness going on in the nose, I would take a pause for a couple of weeks until some of the airborne allergens die down. Or you can test it out and see. Another group of food or drink that's very high in histamine are black tea, green tea, and alcohol.
I had no idea.
Black tea and green tea can be like histamine, high in histamine, and then alcohol as well, very high in histamine. So for those of you that love your kombucha and your fermented stuff and your pickles and your sauerkraut, and you're like, I just got to keep eating it, and your nose is running both nostrils, like down your shirt, yeah, knock it off. Just pause on the pickles, folks. You can do it for a couple of weeks, right? Other foods that are high in histamine, there are certain vegetables that are high in histamine. So tomatoes we mentioned, which is really a fruit, but definitely in the nightshade family. Tomatoes are one to really watch, stay away from for sure. They say if you peel the skin and cut the seeds out, then you can try it, but like that's a lot of work. And
I had no idea that. I wouldn't have thought that a tomato would be a high histamine.
I know, and I'm so sorry because I know you're Italian, and it's like, what are you saying?
I had no clue.
Short time of year. Fruits that are high or can be actually histamine liberating, where it actually liberates the histamine and can liberate the histamine in a histamine sensitive body, will be your strawberries, kiwis, bananas, overly ripe bananas, and pineapple. So those are ones to stay away from. Every other fruit should be okay. Your stone fruits are good. Cherries, peaches, berries, all the berries are good except straw, plums, apples. Bananas, again, should be the tips. The belly of the banana should be a bright yellow with no freckles. And the tips should be green. And that's your perfect banana with the tips still green. One day past that, you're at the yellow mark. Past that, you're already in the red zone. So get your bananas in the refrigerator too, even when they're at that perfect place. So you get an extra day or two out of them, because the refrigeration does slow down a little bit of the histamine process.
Bananas and pineapples really are my favorite fruits.
Oh, so do you hate me now too?
No, I could never hate you, but I just have to stay away from pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple is so lovely and delicious, but you may be able to eat that maybe in the winter. So this is another thing to consider, folks. If your seasonal allergies are like, kind of down for the count in the winter, which mine are not bad, I can have a little pineapple and a little kiwi. And I tend to have a little bit in my smoothie or whatever. And it doesn't really affect me. But if I were to have, pineapple right now, which sounds delicious, I'd be going, hold on, Janine.
You're that sensitive to it.
I mean, it takes like anywhere from a minute to like 4 hours for me.
That is astonishing.
But this time of year only, not other times a year. Something else to watch for too. I know we talked about this on one of the episodes for the wine drinkers. I've been trying that Cameron Diaz Avoline wine. It's very good. Yeah. It's good. She's got like no sugar added. It's all organic. It's like a low histamine wine, but then you can take that wand and stir it in the wine and you degrade some of those histamines out. So it makes it a little more friendly for us ladies who have to have a glass of wine, on the weekend or something like that. So order the wand from Amazon, get your Avoline wine from wherever you can get it. It's like everywhere. So I've tried three of the flavors. It's good.
I've seen it advertised and
I was curious. And then I was in my grocery store and I was like, it had an organic wine section. I'm like, what are the chances it'll be here? And sure enough, there was 4 flavors. And I got 3 of them. I come home, I'm like, wow. Mark, he's like, what the hell? I'm like, because we're not big drinkers, but occasionally I'll just, like to have a little something. Other things that are high in histamine. This is one that, people get a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about. Chocolate. I'm ducking.
I
Chocolate.
just ate a dark chocolate raisin.
Oh, thanks for the reminder. Dried fruits too. Yeah. Dried fruits
Great.
for histamine intolerance. Grapes are also on the poor list for histamines. But I don't know that you have, do you have much in the way? I know you're bloated today because, guys, she let me know she wasn't taking her enzymes after 50 questions. But the bloating can be from histamine intolerance. Do you have seasonal allergies? You do not?
Nothing.
Okay. Oh, good. So then you may be okay.
The only thing that I'm allergic to are plants, like Melaleuca bark and Australian pine, but no food allergies. And I don't feel like obviously dairy, if I eat dairy, there's mucus there. But other than that,
That's everybody.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
everybody.
So
But nothing airborne this time of year when things are blooming.
nothing.
Okay. Good. So then you can have your chocolate and you should be okay. But be forewarned,
Yay.
I know you are bloated. So sorry,
I
guys.
am
She's bloated.
bloated. I'm always bloated.
No, you're not always bloated. You're bloated when you don't take your enzymes, which,
I
hello.
know. I know.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Scolding
have them.
you in front of everybody.
Please scold me. I will have them as soon as we get off of this podcast. I will
Well,
take my
I
freaking
just
enzymes. I
I
promise.
just think it's so funny. So her husband brings her this little food. She's having a few bites before we start. And she's like, oh, she pushes, that's all I want. He said, why? She's like, I'm just so bloated. I'm like, well, why are you bloated? She's like, because I'm constipated. I'm like, well, why are you constipated? She's like, because I shit my brains out yesterday. I said, and why did you shit your brains out yesterday? Well, because I took this magnesium. I mean, it was difficult, but this is what I have to go through with her.
Hey,
So we finally
putting it
get to the
out there.
bottom of it.
Everyone, I'm constipated. Facebook, YouTube, I'm
You
constipated.
told me I could do it. She told me I could. And then I finally get to it because I got to get to the why. I said, you've been taking your enzymes? She said, oh, not for about a week. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, she's back to taking her enzymes now that I've embarrassed her in front of the free world.
Awesome.
No reason to be bloated on my dime, girl.
That's true. This is true.
But Janine makes good food choices. So, she's allowed to have a little stress. She burns the candle at every end. Anyway, I love you.
I've been really good though with the gluten-free. I really have. It really does make a huge difference.
And it's so easy to do. It's just so easy to do. It's ridiculous not to be able to do it these days. So other symptoms of histamine intolerance besides just GI, the ones that I mentioned with bloating and constipation, diarrhea, skin rashes, sleep. Sleep is a big one. Sleep is something that a lot of people struggle with. And sleep is like the princess and the pea. And there's so many things that can disrupt the sleep. What disrupts the sleep? Well, the first thing is the adrenals are offline, right? They're either in maybe like resistance, or they're not firing, or they're just sleeping, or they're exhausted, or whatever it is. And they're not operating. So when your adrenals aren't operating properly, cortisol rhythm is off. That's an easy one. Cortisol rhythm is off, your sleep rhythm is going to be off. And then we add all the other shit that we do with blue light and eating too close, to going to bed and not having a nightly routine that is resting and, like amber light and shutting off the blue light and turning off the cell phones and not having the cell phones in the room. And, Mark and I leave our phones off at night. He actually uses his for an alarm when he has to get up for Starbucks, but it's in the bathroom. It's on low. We have a little EMF protector thing on it, and there's no TV in our bedroom. And we haven't had one probably ever. So that blue light is a big one. It's another thing that disrupts the chemistry of the body, the cortisol, the adrenals. And then when the body makes this histamine, when the body has this extra histamine, it's got to get rid of it, which is why all that mucus comes and why the bladder is like on overdrive and you have to pee more so than you normally would. So again, it's these little things that are good to know about what's happening in the body and why things are happening. So especially this time of year, being very kind to yourself and not overdoing and kind of taking note and checking in with your body about, what's happening. And of course, always, if there's questions, you guys can certainly find me at thetumwhisper.com. Another thing that is an interesting one and I've dealt with it my whole career, you know, coming up on 20 years now. Skin inflammation, eczema, psoriasis, rashing, you know, the gluten rashes, dermatitis herpetiformis, you know, just whatever can also be certain types of rashing and things like that can be a response to histamine. So back in the day, and it's still an issue, like people love their bone broth. By the way, when I tell clients that bone broth is high in histamine, they're like, they pretty much had enough of me, but very high in histamine. And back in the day when I was doing a lot of bone broth, I was having severe rashing under my arms and on my forearms, and my skin would open up from the inside, and I would have these little cuts. And I didn't realize, it took me to figure out it was from histamines. Took the histamines out and the rash went away. So
that is insane. I've never had
rash,
bone broth other than like a little packet, like a sample, but people swear by bone broth.
they swear by it. And it's okay for some people, but for the people that come across my desk, it's not, because they're already having, most people are sensitive to histamines, their stomach, you know, balance is off, inflammatory stuff, diet, lifestyle, environment, yada, yada. I went through it already, you know, so that rashing absolutely is an inside out thing. Most rashes are inside out, unless of course you rolled in poison ivy or, you know, something like that, or change your laundry detergent. That's definitely outside in, but those are the rare cases. Usually the rashes are inside out. Again, so that begs the question, what's happening in the body and why is it happening? And starting to look at all of these things: diet, lifestyle, environment, emotions, right? All this stuff that keeps our nervous system in the constant feedback loop. There's many, many ways to change that up. I'm missing Dr. Carey right now. I wish she was here to jump in on that. But yeah, so again, you know, I hear this one a lot too. I've been good for my whole life, and all of a sudden, just months ago or weeks ago or last year, all of a sudden I started having this symptom, this symptom, this symptom. Well, it's not that you were healthy years ago. It's just that you didn't feel your symptoms. By the time it gets to be a symptom and it expresses on your body, there's already been a problem, you know, long before that. But the body's letting you know, hey, we're at the end of the line here. I got a rash, or I got to go to the bathroom, or I'm exhausted and I can't sleep. I'm wired and tired, right? All of these things, when the body is showing you, it's kind of not that it's too late, but the body's been in already an exhaustive state. It's been in an overburdened, overtaxed state at this point. So that's why prevention is really the name of the game. And if you're already symptomatic, right, and you kind of live like me, where you're wrangling the symptoms and having the threshold of feeling okay every day, then you're there. Then you work hard to keep the bucket low. Keep the histamine bucket low. Don't overflow it, because when you do, again, the boogers, the rashing, the bladder, the bowel, I mean, all of it. And it's not so easy, like I said, to manage with just a Zyrtec if you still bombard the body with extra things high in histamine. Perfumes, you know, chemicals, people that use a lot of chemicals in their home. That's a really big one too. And some people, you know, they don't notice it, they don't feel it, they don't smell it. And that's fine. That means their body doesn't really respond to that because it doesn't have an issue with detoxification. But most people's do. And at least the people that, you know, come into my life with help that they need have their ways that their body doesn't get rid of poison and toxins, and that adds to the histamine bucket. Make sense?
Makes total sense.
Yeah. So the invitation is for you guys to, you know, just again, I invite you all the time to pay close attention to your body, pay attention to what's happening. Always reach out to me with questions. In fact, I got a really nice email from a lady who, I must have been mentioning the plugins, but she emailed me and the title of the email was plugins. And she said she was using some, she said to me, you know, you can take cinnamon clove and a couple of like oranges or something and boil them on the stove to make the house smell nice. And of course that's perfect because it's natural and there's no chemicals. So, people are aware. Most people are aware, some people are not. But again, the idea is to really keep your environment, your diet, your lifestyle as clean as possible, because guys, we're bombarded every single day. Everything we eat, everything we drink, everything we think, everything we're exposed to, everything we see, our bodies take it all in and process it all the way it processes it. And it's a lot different than it was years and years ago. We have to work extra hard just to feel okay. And it's harder work these days. It's harder work than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, before our food source became pretty poisoned here in the United States with all the chemicals and all the Roundup and all the pesticides and all the junk that we eat. And even though we don't die right away from it like a bug would, because that's how the bug dies, the bug eats it, it leaks their gut and they become auto-intoxicated and they die, right? We have a larger mass because we don't have the size of a gut, the size of an ant or a bug. So it takes us longer. So not only do we not die right away, we get sick in the process, and we get this prolonged, slow, agonizing, painful inflammation that for some people is completely debilitating. And I have seen a lot in my career, and I've been so blessed to be able to help so many people with so many issues. And I'm here for you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys have a lot of knowledge. Knowledge is power. And I'm here to help you connect the dots for your health, for your digestion, for your safety, for your longevity.
I love that, Renee. That's amazing.
Thank you. Everybody, my coach used to say, even a coach needs a coach. Like everybody needs, we all need each other. We all need help with whatever we need it and for. And I've got my opinions about stuff, and I'm happy to share them with you guys.
So true. So eat healthy. If you need anything, ask Renee. She's a world of knowledge. She's just an encyclopedia of information.
Thank you. Thank you. And stay tuned, you guys. Next week, we're going to have Dr. J on, the formulator for the sweet relief, which Janine's been having great results with. And I'm super excited to, spoiler alert, she'll share with you guys in 2 weeks from tonight. Well, Dr. J will be on. I think Crystal will be on as well, too. And we're going to talk about how to relax your nervous system through a cream and help your body with detoxification and helping your nerve tissue heal and get nutrition and help balance your organs in your body and help your body with just, again, the everyday bombardment of life. So until next time, guys, everybody stay safe. Remember to chew your food really well. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach me at thetummywhisperer.com. Don't forget to like and share and download where you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever, right? I said iHeart.
Good job.
Thank
you.
You
did great. Yes, you did great. Perfect.
After 19 episodes, I should remember the tail end of it.
Did great.
Anyway, everybody take good care. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.